Morning. How y'all doing? Today is Wednesday, October 15th, at 10 a.m. as of recording this video. I'm taking a break from a Halloween project. For Joey. He's going as Freddy Fazbear Glam Rock Freddy Fazbear from Five Nights at Freddy's, which he is absolutely obsessed with. And we got him a costume. I got him a costume. And for a candy bucket, there's a character in the game's movie called Carl Cupcake, and it's like an animatronic cupcake with teeth. And it's this big pink cupcake with, a brown bottom to it. And he wanted a Carl Cupcake candy bucket for trick or treat. And Five Nights at Freddy's has become an insanely popular franchise. It's a phenomenon. But there is nothing anywhere near close to anything out there like a Carl Cupcake candy bucket, which is kind of odd to me. But like the whole thing is based on these possessed killer animatronics, and like Spirit Halloween, they never have any actual Five Nights at Freddy's animatronics. I don't know if it's a licensing thing, the creator doesn't want to do it, I don't know. They do have some costumes out there, albeit not great. I really wanted to make him a first-rate costume, and if I had good eyesight and had a little bit more money to work with, I would have done that, because the costumes that they sell like online and Spirit Halloween and whatnot are kind of junk. They look terrible. Although the costume he's got now doesn't look bad, it just looks cheap. And comparatively, it was not as cheap as I think it should have been for the way it looks and how it's made, but that's neither here nor there. So anyway, I'm making him a Carl Cupcake candy bucket. I'm making it out of two different Halloween trick-or-treat pails. One of them is just like a regular round pail, that I've painted brown to resemble the cupcake's bottom. And then the other one is the traditional, pumpkin candy pail. And I got a white one, and I've used silicone caulk to fill in the pumpkin ribs. And the pumpkin face, I've cut out the bottom, I've cut out the teeth, and I've got one more treatment of caulk to do to it, and then I'm gonna paint it. That has to be pink. And I'm gonna stick a couple of big googly eyes on it. Paint a little purple around the eyes, as the character has, like, purple around his eyes. So it's probably not going to look perfect. I could have done a better job with, like I said, more finances to work with, and having better eyesight. There was a time when I was a kid that I briefly considered going into like professional makeup, doing like movie makeup, monster makeup. I was really into that stuff when I was a kid, and used to do up my my younger brother and sister for Halloween real good. I did my brother up one year. I was maybe 16, 17, and I did him up as a drow dark elf from Dungeons and Dragons. And we put a lot of time into it, put a lot of work into it, and everybody that saw him was blown away. I was quite proud of myself. And I've always been into monster movies. It's my favorite. Horror movies are one of my favorite genres, and monster movies are my absolute favorite brand of horror movie. And I used to want to go into that, Thought that would be cool. Of course, that would probably require me relocating to LA, which I would not do for all the tea in China. Anyway, this thing, like I said, isn't going to look, perfect, but my resources are very limited. My funds are very limited, and my eyesight is very limited right now. So it's not going to look perfect, but it's going to look good enough to say, hey, that's Carl Cupcake. So it's going to be all right. And Joey's already very happy with what I've got done so far. He was helping me with it the other day, doing some of the caulk along the ribs. So I'm putting the caulk in the ribs on the pumpkin, and then I take a scraper and smooth it out to kind of to make it more, symmetrically round and not look like a pumpkin. And the caulk too also adds to like this frosting looking effect. In Five Nights at Freddy's, it's an animatronic, but it's still supposed to look like a cupcake. So it's got some bumps and waves to it to make it look like frosting. And I think it's gonna look pretty good. It's gonna maybe look like a homemade. It's gonna look maybe like a homemade cupcake by somebody that doesn't do a lot of baking. But it's gonna look good. But I've got to get it done quickly, because he's got his Halloween camping trip with the Cub Scouts this weekend, and they're supposed to take their costumes, and I'm trying to have it done in order for him to take it to do that with. I don't know for sure if I'm gonna make it, but worst come to worst, I've still got his Halloween pail, which was a blue pumpkin from last year. So, well, not from last year, from the year before. So worst comes to worst, I can send that with him, and he'll still have his Halloween candy bucket, and his Carl Cupcake pail will definitely be done in time for trick or treat and trunk or treat at school and scouts and all that. His mom will probably have to do the trunk or treats, school and scouts. Might be able to get my folks out here to do one, because school I think is a little bit earlier in the day. I don't know if she'll be able to get off work. Depends on whether or not it's a day she's working at home or working up in Jacksonville. But I'll at least be able to do around the neighborhood. We'll do what we did year before last. We'll just ride around the neighborhood in the truck. I can see well enough to do that. I'm dressing up as the night security guard from Five Nights at Freddy's to match his Freddy costume, which was simple for me because I had everything that I needed except the Fazbear Entertainment from Five Nights at Freddy's badges, which I managed to procure.